I'm going to talk about the Sami society, an indigenous group traditionally living in the northern parts of Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Russia. After growing up in the northern part of Sweden, I developed a deep interest into Sami culture, especially with the groups who were settled close by, where their way of life was so deeply connected to the environment and seemed very fascinating. The Samis' relationship with their surroundings is reflected in their language, religion, and connection to the landscape. These elements are closely intertwined, influencing their cultural identity. Their language, full of terms about nature, reveals how significant the environment is to them. In addition, their animistic religious beliefs regard the land as sacred, since spirits reside in the natural world. These combined aspects of culture provide for resilience of the Sami people in sustaining their traditions during modern challenges. In this presentation, I will explore how language, landscape, and religion form the foundation of Sami culture and how they continue to shape the Sami way of life today. The Sami language is rich and diverse with a total of 10 dialects. Only a few of them are widely spoken today, such as Northern and Southern Sami, Lule, Pite, Ume Sami in Sweden. Among these two dialects, namely Pite and Ume, are considered endangered, which indicates the challenges the language faces in maintaining its spirit. Also pointing out that Ter Sami and Akkala Sami, spoken in northern parts of Russia, where Sami resides, are on the extinct path as well. Sami languages are more than a means of communication. They are a part of Sami people's relationship with the natural world. For instance, Northern Sami has many different words for snow. As was pointed out in the perspectives chapter on language, language forms awareness and ways of seeing the world. This is also true in the way Sami language is embedded within the natural world. This is further supported by the work of Lera Boroditsky, who has demonstrated how language influences the way people think about and behave concerning their environment. In this sense, the Sami language creates a feedback loop in which their thoughts and relationship to the outside world are shaped by their language, just as their surroundings do. The Sami are deeply connected to the landscape, and this shapes their way of life. Activities such as reindeer herding, hunting, and fishing are all deeply linked to the seasonal cycles of nature. For example, the land will determine the routes of migration of the reindeer, thus affecting where the Sami would live and travel. Norstedt and Östlund also said that subsistence practices among the Sami are situated within the land, thus affecting their social structures. According to Poole and Cliggett, the environment shapes these practices but also influences how Sami perceives the world. According to Davis, deep relations between people and land are an important part of cultural identity. The different types of land, from thick forests to wide tundras, determine where the Sami move and what they do for work throughout the year. Important landmarks and sacred places have cultural and spiritual meaning, strengthening their bond with the land. The way the land looks is an example of how geography can support cultural traditions for many years. Also, climate change brings new problems, such as melting permafrost and changes in migration patterns, which impact traditional lifestyles. This tells how strong the Sami are, how good they know their surroundings, underlining the bond between their culture and nature. Religion is the most important part of their culture and deeply influences the very being and outlook of the Sami. The Sami practice animism and believes that nature is the place of spiritual forces that dwell in trees, rivers, mountains, and even animals. This not only dictates their relationship with the land, but it also helps in keeping their cultural identity intact. Sacred sites such as stone circles were particularly significant during colonization because they maintained the Sami people's relation to the land and asserted their cultural identity. According to Lofer and Davis, in a small-scale society like that of the Sami, religion is deeply entangled with the environment. The book Perspective states that in such societies, religion and spirituality are closely related to the physical environment. The Sami maintain the endurance of their spirituality and cultural resistance through religious rituals and sacred places. The Sami worldview intertwines the physical and spiritual realms. For the Sami, every 3 rivers and mountains have a spirit, and these places hold memories of ancestors and sacred events. In this way, their connection to the land is both spiritual and historical. Sacred spaces like the stone circles used in rituals continue to play a vital role in preserving the Sami spiritual and cultural continuity. These sites are more than just physical markers, they are living symbols of resilience and a reminder of the Sami's enduring connection to their heritage and natural surroundings. The Sami creation story is a strong example of a feedback loop connecting language, religion, and landscape. In Sami tradition, the spirits of the earth and sky created the world, and as such, the landscape is sacred. Mountains, rivers, and forests are regarded as living beings, which shapes how the Sami interact with their surroundings. The concept of the belief is amplified at sacred sites, for instance, stone circles that were described by Lofer as one that maintained the Sami through the colonization times. These sites connect them spiritually to the ancestral lands to ensure survival of cultures. Language is very important in the feedback loop by passing down creation stories and spiritual beliefs. The Sami language includes special terms for natural elements which emphasize their close relationship with nature. As the Perspective chapter has said, language shapes how people perceive and interact with surroundings. It reinforces the interconnection between language, religion, and landscape. The creation stories, sacred rituals, and language together nurture the identity and spiritual attachment of the Sami to the land, which demonstrates the relationship of these cultural dimensions. In the storytelling of Sami culture, moral values also play a greater role. Historical stories are included, and the spiritual and traditional nomadic way of living of the Sami people connects the bond of language, religion, and land even closer. Other challenges regarding Sami culture in modern times lie at large in the disruption between language, religion, and landscape. One of the major threats now is climate change, in which land and weather disrupt the important activities of reindeer herding and subsistence. The expansion of industrial development, mining, logging in areas where Sami originally dwelled further diminishes their rights to maintain a sustainable relationship with nature. Lanto and Mörkenstam discuss how Sami land rights have continuously been challenged by external forces, leading to cultural and spiritual displacement. These pressures threaten not only the Sami's way of life, but also the language and religious practices deeply connected with the land. The shift from traditional lifestyles to more modern forms of employment is another challenge, as it affects the transmission of cultural knowledge and practice to younger generations. Additionally, the government, policies, and regulations often fail to recognize the unique needs and rights of the Sami, creating further obstacles in their fight for cultural preservation. Despite these challenges, the Sami people continue to struggle for their culture. They emphasize the protection of sacred sites and environment in maintaining their identity. Activists, organizations, and even younger generation are advocating for Sami's right to self-determination and environmental justice. The Sami continue to defend their land and culture by fighting against industrialization, advocating for reindeer herding rights, and working to preserve their sacred sites. Their resilience is a testament to the strength of their culture and its capacity to adapt and endure amidst eternal pressures. The Sami culture is deeply shaped by their language, religion, and connection to the land. These elements are interconnected and form the foundation of their identity. Despite challenges like climate change and industrial development, the Sami continue to preserve their tradition and adapt to modern pressures. Their ability to protect their culture, including their sacred sites, language, and religious practices, shows their resilience and commitment to their heritage. The Samis' fight for their cultural survival serves as an example of the strength of indigenous cultures in the face of external threats.